Hi, everybody. Have you heard about what's going on at this ostrich farm in Edgewood, BC? This is another thing that is just utterly ridiculous. Another example of complete government overreach and absurdity. This is actually just sort of mind boggling, but let me show you what I mean. There is an ostrich farm that has 400 ostriches. These ostriches are about 2 to 300 pounds. And they say that a flock of ducks gave the farm avian flu. And so now you got to kill all 400 of these ostriches. So here, let's take a look. This is some B-roll of the ostriches. Now, the owners of the farm say that these birds are healthy. They're healthy now. I know that the Canadian Food Inspection Agency went down there and they PCR swab tested them. They swabbed them down their throat. They think they did a rectal test also, but none of the birds are sick now. Look at these birds. This is just recent video. Apparently some were sick and now they're better. So you can just justify killing healthy animals? Can you imagine if there was if you had a litter of kittens and someone declared, "Oh yeah, you got feline flu. Oh, feline flu, you need to kill all your kittens. Kill them all." What if you had the flu and we say, "Oh, you had the flu. Well, we need to kill you." Right? We need to kill you and everybody you've come in contact with in your household. And this is kind of the ridiculous thing that's going on. And the people on the farm are crying, and I'd be crying too. They're begging for this not to happen. This is utterly ridiculous. They're not even going to use these ostriches as food. And I think they've been working with someone to develop vaccine antibodies and what have you. I don't care what they're doing over there. That's their business. That's their farm. Leave them alone. Leave them be. And to order for the CFIA to order Canadian Food Inspection Agency to order them to kill 400 healthy ostriches. You tell me who's the psycho here. That is utterly psychotic. And this is also pre-planned, as you will know. Teresa Tam, Bonnie Henry. There was a Zoom call many months ago that I did a bit with, and they are going down. They are testing. They are almost orchestrating this kind of stuff to happen because they seem to want this kind of stuff to happen for whatever reason. I mean, just look at them. And they want the owners to do it. They're not even going to come and do it. You actually want the owners to kill their pets? This is psychotic. This is unbelievably cruel and psychotic. I don't know. Somebody better get a hold of Pam Anderson and PETA or whatever. Get the PETA on down there because this is not ethical treatment. And they're doing this a lot, culling chickens. They killed like about 1 million chickens in Port Coquitlam, and I think they compensate the farmers, maybe not. And you tell me in the comments if they do. That's why we don't hear too much about it. But it's almost like they are creating food scarcity. They want to do this, and I think but the ostrich thing is just incredible. Why are they doing this? Are they doing this because the powers that be want to set a precedent? Like, hey, we did this to the ostrich farm. We have no problem doing this to your little chicken farm or whatever. Right? My cat is upset. This is nuts. There's a great freedom fighter that I follow on Facebook. And she went down to the farm and shot some video. So I'm going to play this video from Sarah Bankhurt.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Sarah with the Clone Resistance. It is January 24th, 2025, and we are in beautiful Edgewood, BC at Universal Ostrich Farms. And here comes Karen with our hazmat guys. They're still dressed up. There's probably a girl in there as well. But so we're just going to turn you around in a little bit here. I just had a nice chat with the officer here about, the world at large, and it was very interesting. There's some nice cops here today. Okay, here we go.
The CFIA told them they would come with police because they understand that protesters are going to be there. So they actually threaten them. Yeah, we're going to come, and we're going to come with the cops. So here they come. This is awesome, Sarah, getting this video, heading down to the farm and doing it. I haven't seen this whole thing.
There's our lovely bird.
There's the ostriches. Oh, yeah, kill them all. Yeah, because that makes sense. And these people all dressed up like Dustin Hoffman in Outbreak. What a joke. Even she's laughing, Sarah, because this is utterly ridiculous. You foolish clowns working for the government doing this ridiculous nonsense. Oh, I think that's a lawyer. I think that might be.
They can't pick a sick one. There isn't.
Oh, I think she's one of the farm owners, Karen.
Get a science. They said all the science, and then we said we tried, and CFIA wasn't acknowledging it in the sense you just gave us a cull order, and we said, but we have tons of science behind this, and they're like, start getting us the science. You guys get us the science. So there might be that little.
You get us the scientists. Aren't these mofos the scientists? Aren't they the scientists that are testing and prodding and pricking and doing all these things and determining what's going on? They're the scientists. These guys are the farm owners. You're putting the burden on them.
No.
They're asking for the science.
They're asking for the antibody test and stuff.
Yeah, and we've got so much science.
Which is better if the science comes from them anyway, but this is how stupid I think they are.
Behind this. So we're like, okay. And they said don't, because Tsukamoto reached out to CFIA and to Canada themselves, the government, and they're saying, no, have them give it to you or take what we have and submit it. We thought it was better coming from our team members. But they say, no, the farm is what you're saving, so we need it to come from us. And we're like, oh, okay, that's easy too. So we said, you got lots of science coming your way in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Well, good, so they're going to send them something. Okay, great. Let's take a look at some video. There was a Zoom call that somebody did that was great. It had Dr. Stephen Pellick and Dr. Chris Shaw, and it had a lot of great people talking on it, including Katie, I believe her name is. She's one of the farm owners also. And let me play you some of this.
There's no replacing this. This is my mom and her business partners and all of our family's lives. It's those animals out there can't be replaced. They're not 100-day turnaround chicken. They're part of the family, and you'll never get those personalities back. You'll never get those antibodies and those birds back out there. You'll never get their strength that they have built over the 30, some of them 34 years old. You'll never get that. It would take another lifetime for them to try to recreate that. You'll never be able to do that again. So I don't know how in that letter, they state about genetics and stuff, and they say that we don't qualify, that we are, I wish I could pull it up there. It's on the letter, that they don't qualify for that they're special, or the other day, how sick are they, right? I mean, it's absurd that you would have to go to each one and you would have to put each one down individually.
Oh my God, please don't let this happen. Please, you people on the farm, do not listen to these orders. Do not follow them. Do not let them threaten you. Do not worry about fines. Don't pay the fines. This is absolutely inhumanely, stupidly cruel orchestration by your government. Your government doesn't care about you. And if you die, if you take a certain thing, you know what I'm talking about? I have a prop. Let me pull out a prop. If you take one of these and then you die, something happens to you, tell me if we give a shit. Tell me if the news media gives a shit. This is about animals. They don't even care about humans. They're looking to do this with the animals. And I think this has to do probably with this bill, which is Bill C-293. Bill C-293 could limit meat consumption in Canada. This is opinion piece, an op-ed by Sylvain Charlevoix. It's almost inconceivable that Bill C-293 remains largely unknown among Canadians, given its potential to significantly expand governmental powers in response to future pandemics. Detailed Examination of the bill does more than sow confusion about its intentions. It reveals a troubling spirit at its core. Bill C-293, a private member's bill that recently advanced through the House of Commons with little resistance, which is ridiculous, purports to bolster Canada's pandemic preparedness, yet a deeper analysis exposes provisions that could disastrously impact the agriculture and agri-food sector, which are vital to our natural economy and food security. Obviously, they want food insecurity. Under this bill, public health officials could have the authority to close facilities they consider high risk, such as meat packing plants during pandemics. Well, we're not in a bloody pandemic. Don't create one. And even mandate the consumption of vegetable proteins by Canadians, measures that border on the absurd. It is hardly surprising that the private member who introduced Bill C-293 is Liberal MP Nathaniel Erskine Smith, who is known for his vegan lifestyle. Oh my God, you be a vegan then. Get out of my life, right? And just one more thing about the private members bill. So private members business. Prorogation of a session usually brings to an end all proceedings before Parliament. Unfinished business dies on the order paper and must be started anew in a subsequent session. However, for the purposes of private members' business, prorogation has almost no practical effect. Oh, good gravy. Private members' bills and motions originating in the House, including motions for papers which have been transferred for debate, need not to be reintroduced in a new session, as they are automatically deemed to have passed all stages completed in the previous session and retain the same place on the order paper. Oh my God, that makes me want to vomit. Nathaniel Erskine Smith, we got to write to him. We got to say, what are you doing? You really were going to look at those animals and really say that this is okay. And also, do you remember a while ago there was a video, Bonnie Henry, Teresa Tam, what's his name, something Shepherd, all these psychopaths that work for the Canada Food Inspection Agency and PHAC and all these people did a Zoom call, and they want to do this to you. They are very much, against raw milk and, pasteurize everything. They don't follow any science. All these people that say to follow the science never follow any science. Let's have a look at some of the ridiculous things that these people have said. I titled this video, Canadian Health Officials Orchestrate Bird Flu Outbreak, because that's exactly what it seems to me that they are doing. I did this with Glenn Jung from Bright Light News months ago. It's the new one.
I don't know where that H5N1 in wastewater has come from. Guillaume tells me in a very detailed conversation that the sequences are robust enough, or they're robust enough, stable enough for us to detect out of wastewater are not variable between avian origin strains and the bovine strains. So we would not be able to determine if this was environmental contamination from avian source, bovine source, or milk dumping, as has been the case in the US, or frankly, even human source, based on the sequences that we would be obtaining. To all of the PT jurisdictions who have the capacity to do that testing, and the QC panels and all the good stuff that you need to do it is available. And so we should be ready for that. There are no indications there's anything particularly special about these sequences. I mean, we know it's an avian strain. We've been able to PCR avian strains before. We can PCR them now. We're just PCRing them from a different sample.
I don't know. What do you think of that? PCRing avian strain.
Well, first of all, we know that the PCR test is completely not fit for purpose. The guy who invented it was the co-winner of the Nobel Prize, Kary Mullis, Dr. Kary Mullis. He said in a panel discussion that he was in, somebody was talking about the PCR test, and he said, look, the PCR test does not tell you if you are sick, right? Yeah. This is a huge thing that everyone needs to understand. When it comes to diagnosing illness, the way that it's always run up to until before COVID was this. You would have a set of clinical symptoms that a doctor would sit there and say, listen, we have these symptoms, runny nose, fever, stiff neck, whatever. Looks like meningitis. Then we'll go to the PCR test. Then we will sit there and say, as Kary Mullis said, all the PCR test does is it takes a little bit of something in your body, some molecules, a virus or whatever, and then it doubles and doubles and doubles them to a point where they've aggregated so much that you can actually look at them, observe them, and talk about them, and then say, and this would be a secondary confirmation. So you've got clinical symptoms, then you've got the PCR saying, yes, we've got that virus in there. Yes, let's diagnose this person with this disease.
Yeah. That's just what they do. It's just a way to get them to come to a determination. You know, remember all the asymptomatic stuff? Remember what they did to you? Remember, like, when you'd get a test, and there are people, I remember this, gosh, all over global, we'd had to, like, people had to test and stuff, or people would be like, oh, you know, I tested positive, and I'd be like, oh, well, how do you feel? Oh, fine. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know when you're sick. You know when you're sick. Like, just because a test tells you something, it's a garbage test. It's a baloney test. It's really up to the authorities to prove what they're doing. Why are you leaving it to the farmers to prove, prove the science? Do you know what I mean? Like, they have no proof. They fake everything. You know, they Omicron and you know, all these. You really think there's specific tests for all these things? It's just this is just nonsense. They orchestrate this. They're telling you that they're orchestrating it. It's all over in that Zoom call. They want to do this. They also spoke about in that Zoom call how, oh, well, farms are going to be resistant to this. Now, how do we get around that? Well, you know, they want to do this. This is some sort of, again, bizarre agenda that they're all you know, in lockstep with, to just ruin the lives of normal people, and they love doing it. They love doing it. And if you can, that video is really boring, the whole Zoom call, but it is very interesting because it reveals what they're thinking, what they want to do. None of this is for the benefit of humanity. None of this makes sense. They do it to cause pain, to cause strife, to cause stress, to cause scarcity, to, again, oppress, suppress. It has to do with that stupid bill C-293 too. There's something at work pushing these forces down, right? And all the people going, oh, we're just following orders. We're just following orders. You really got to stop doing that. You really got to think, what is making sense? But anyway, let's go to what some doctors have to say, Stephen Pellick and Chris Shaw, about these ostriches on the farm.
In some cases in farms where you have a lot of the birds that got sick and many of them died, there is some transmission there, but human to human transmission is very rare with this particular. As it turns out, it's likely that these birds, the older birds, have natural immunity, and the younger birds, they were
Natural
not
immunity
exposed to the virus before, and so it's taken more of a toll on those. And if I understand, I think somewhere around 69 birds have died, but all from this 200 or so younger birds. So those that recover will have natural immunity, and natural immunity is far better and stronger than any immunity that you can get from these kind of vaccines that are being offered at this time.
Okay, this is Dr. Chris Shaw.
You know, again, as Steve said, you know, yes, they may have been exposed to the disease, but again, they are not making anything. They're not making the virus that's transmittable, and that's probably the case here. And so again, you know, given all those things that Steve touched on, and you know, kind of these other aspects that, you know, the tests, and again, I would be really curious to see if anyone has followed up on the test. When I went to the website today, I couldn't find any information about how they actually do the testing. So, you know, it may be there somewhere. So, you know, based on that, based on the, you know, the impact on the family, the fact that it's almost really unlikely to be spread to other flocks, especially because, you know, you would need an awful lot of the virus to be present in the current flock, which is really unlikely in the ostrich flock. And then it would only be wild birds, maybe ducks, that would transmit it. And again, that's pretty unlikely given the circumstances. So I think basically it's kind of a made-up crisis. Now, maybe the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is doing their best, but again, I would be really questioning their methods, because I think their methods may be their Achilles heel. You know,
It's a made-up crisis. It's a made-up crisis. They'll make a crisis up out of anything to justify their own pathetic existence. Anyway, the latest news is that this is an article from the Vernon Morning Star. An animal advocate fights cull order for Edgewood Ostrich Farm. So I hope lawyers and everybody and people get involved and fight this thing. I really hope the owners are not forced to cull. I hope you don't go through with it. I hope you refuse with every fiber of your being. Do not listen to these Dustin Hoffman people in the outbreak outfits that come and tell you what to do. No, you get off my farm and you tell them to go away, right? You are a law-abiding citizen with healthy animals on your farm, and they are orchestrating nonsense. You know, it's like if there's no testing, there's no problem. There'd be no problem. Like, you know what I mean? There have been a lot of things that have just been a problem of testing. And it's like, you know, you could feel one way, and let's say you go to your doctor and your doctor says, oh, you have cancer. You're like, oh, I have cancer? Oh my God. And then you think you're sick because you're told something, whether it has any merit or not. But if you go to your doctor and your doctor goes, oh, you're cancer free. But, oh, I'm cancer free. Well, how do you feel? I feel no different. You know, like someone tells you something and it creates the psychosis in your brain of something or whatever. You know, that's what it was like for COVID and stuff like that. But for these ostriches, it's like these people are coming to the farm saying, okay, your birds are sick. They have avian flu. You've got to kill them all. This is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard of. You know, do you kill your grandmother if she has the flu and everybody, all your siblings? You know, like you wouldn't even quarantining is cruel, right? People get sick. Things happen. You look after the animal. You know, you don't kill 1 million chickens. You don't do pretend salmonella so you can't buy eggs at Safeway. You don't do these things. Yes, there is an element of food safety that's why we have these organizations, but I think this is an abuse of power. Anyway, please do what you can. I'll leave all the links in the description. I'm even going to leave the emails of Teresa Tam, Bonnie Henry, that Shepherd guy, all of the people that were on that Zoom call. Write to them and tell them how disappointed you are. I'm going to do the same thing. This is ludicrous. If for nothing else, just the satisfaction of clicking send. How dare these people come into your life and do this? They've already separated your families. You and your families already made people fight. Now they want to kill off, you know, livestock. They just want to like be so totalitarian and so authoritarian over people. And to put people like this through so much stress and strife is disgusting to watch on the sidelines. And it's cruel. It's totally inhumane. It's just culling for nothing. Culling for nothing. Anyway, if you like this video, I know it's such a sad video, please subscribe, but like, that helps me. But let's get the word out about this, because they were supposed to, I think the cull date was February 1st, but this is just bull. This can't happen. Thanks for watching this video today. Please help out the people on this farm. Raise as much awareness as you can about this ridiculous nonsense.